an average of over $500 per year. Make it easy on yourself, reduce waste, and get that fruit and veggies into your body, where it's going to do you a lot of good and not in the trash. Check us out, eatcleaner.com, or head to our Amazon store at amazon.com/eatcleaner.
Yeah, I'm a believer with this entire thing that this is a divine curriculum for everyone to get their shit together. I truly believe that at my core. Yes, there's destruction. Yes, there's pain. Yes, there's death. I am seeing that, and I acknowledge that, and I know that, and that's heartbreaking. And we took a hard left so long ago in the wrong direction, and we created so much separation, not only from our bodies and our hearts and each other, but the planet, and just a separation from what is real. And so although there's a lot of destruction right now, although there's a lot of certainty, I know that we are going to emerge out of this with so much more alignment. And it needed to happen, as shitty as it is. And, every day I'm like, let me out of this freaking house.
Yeah.
My humanness comes out, and I'm frustrated with the entire thing. But the truth is it's forcing us to reset, look at what is not important, look at the things we used to prioritize, and realize that those things are just so unnecessary. And what's so important, and what we crave more than anything, is togetherness, is connection, is our connection to nature, our connection to slowness, like getting back to doing less better. Our world, we do so much shitty in a diluted way, So although right now we feel like we're in the midst of this destruction with a lot of people getting sick and the economy crashing and all sorts of things, I know we're going to look back at this time and go, wow, that was a really necessary point in time for us to emerge better and stronger.
Amen to that. I think it's all giving us a little reality check of what is important and what at the core we really need to be focusing on. I know a big part, and I want to dive into the food in just a minute, but a big part of what you have done is show people the importance of breath work. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I am I became a student of yoga about 12 years ago, and more seriously, like within the last 6 or 7 years. And I can't tell you what breathing has done for my anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of, symptoms that kind of were then offshoots of my anxiety. And I feel like a lot of that is just gone because I'm breathing and I'm conscious of it. Can you talk a little bit about what that does for people?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about a story that changed my life. I was going through my diet depression days, as I mentioned, and I had read Eat, Pray, Love, and I'm like, oh, go to Bali and heal yourself. Okay, let me do that. So I bought a one-way ticket to Bali in hopes to use a more holistic approach to helping me heal my eating disorder. And when I got there, I discovered breath work. And I can remember going into this class, and this man who looked like Jesus in his whole white suit, he came up to me and he was like, are you ready to go on a ride of your life? And I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And so I lied down and I breathed in the way that they instructed, which is this very conscious, continual breath that kind of sounds like this. Just over and over again for 3 hours. And it was the most incredible experience of my life. And that was a time in my life where I really, totally echoing what you shared, like I experienced numbness and I experienced anxiety, a lot of it. And what breath work gave me in that moment was an ability to release the latch my mind had to reality and get into my body in a new way, which was absolutely incredible to aid in the healing of my eating disorder, because I finally felt my body. And I always understood this concept of self-love, but in that moment I felt it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so powerful. I'm so incredible. I have this amazing body that is just so wildly profound. And if I just stop berating it and numbing it with food and over exercising, I can actually connect to it and develop a relationship to it. So breath work was the number one thing that helped me get over my eating disorder, which is what a lot of my book is about, of how can we use the breath in a very conscious and continual way to unhook the mind, get into the body, and really begin to heal. Because, we are born with everything we need in order to feel incredible, get back in alignment. We're born with this breath that heals our body. We're born with these bodies that know how to heal themselves, but we have outsourced that magnificence and we try and put it in other things, which gives away our power. We're literally disempowered because we're deciding that we are something outside of us is greater than our bodies, and it's just not true. So breathwork has been a massive game changer for me over the last 10 years, and now I started teaching it to help women who struggled with emotional eating and binge eating, and now I teach it to anyone and anyone who will listen.
How does someone learn how to do that from you? Because I think if there's anything that we can learn right now in this state that we're in of not having control over everything, it's controlling your breath.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our need for certainty needs to be met at some point, and there's not a ton of it right now, but where we can absolutely meet our need for certainty is learning how to shift our breath in order to clear anxiety. So to answer your question, many places, I do breath work every single morning at 8 a.m. PST on my Instagram. So just people can hop on and just go through the patterns.
How do they follow you on Instagram?
At Samantha Skelly, just my first and last name,
perfect.
at Samantha Skelly. And then if you go to pausebreathwork.com, I've got free audios that you can try and all sorts of things over there. So there's many places to engage and get started. And if you're listening to this and you are struggling with emotional eating or body image issues of any variety, breathwork is such a incredible opportunity to just begin to shift that and heal that in a way that feels really powerful and really good. So my recommendation is 8 a.m. PST on my Instagram, and then also pausebreathwork.com. You can download a free audio.
Okay, we're putting that in the show notes, but I'm with you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'm doing it.
Oh, come. It's so fun. It's so fun. You got to come.
I do believe that there is a lot within us that gets locked up. Mm-hmm. And our memories are an amazing thing. When we're in fight or flight mode, our memory just kind of locks down and almost allows us to forget that pain. But in order to unlock it and heal, we do have to kind of re-engage our minds. Did you find in this journey of creating sort of I'll call it a mantra of healing, because it's a number of different steps. It's not just one thing. Did you find that you were remembering things that you just kind of went, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that, or I can't believe I parked that? And yeah,
definitely. Well, the interesting thing is breathwork activates the limbic system in the brain. So when our limbic system is activated, that is the house of a lot of memory and emotion. So when we're doing breath work, I oftentimes remember things I've completely forgotten. And I see visuals of things that I didn't remember and now do. And for a lot of people, that can be a very confronting, untethering, and potentially scary thing for people, because maybe you suppress something so far down into your system and you never want to remember it. And through breath work, we get to feel through it so we can heal it. So it's a powerful, powerful experience. But it's one that we got to go slow, we got to go slow. So often people will just jump right into like a really intense, deep session. And they might get a little bit nervous. So it's really important to go slow.
How long did it take you? To kind of recognize that something was wrong and then feel like you were on the right path, or feel like, because I'm a recovering, I had an eating disorder for over 10 years, and I talk about it very openly. And I don't think you ever completely get over it. I think that you manage it. I think that it's just like any something else that maybe you abuse, you learn to live in a better way, but somehow it's always just kind of parked there in the back of your mind. But I feel like I've managed it to the point where I'm a functioning, happy, healthy human being where I wasn't before. How long did it take you to get to that point where you're like, I'm functioning well?
That's a beautiful question. I think I love what you said about it doesn't just dissipate and go away, but we definitely change our relationship to it. And I think what's the place that I was trying to approach it from earlier on was, I'm going to mindset my way out of this. I'm just going to think my way out of this, which takes a lot of effort. It's overwhelming, and it's just not a productive way of doing it. And I think getting to a place where after that breathwork session, after I really viscerally felt the difference between numbness and experiencing the wide range of emotions, I then began to easily manage it because I could really discern the difference. What is an emotional hunger cue? What is a physical hunger cue? Why am I wanting to restrict right now? What's the actual emotional need? And when we're numbed out and we don't have that wisdom and we don't have that information from our body, it's so challenging to try and figure it out. So when our bodies are unlocked and we can feel into them, there's so much wisdom, there's so much intelligence there. Anxiety is the language of our body telling us that something's not in alignment or something's not right, or we need to look at something or feel something. And so it's so important that we pay attention.
I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there. Okay, let me just leave it at that. I was going to say something kind of a little bit more harsh, but let's just say there's a lot of misinformation out there in the world of nutrition and a balanced, healthy approach to eating. And there's a lot of dysmorphia, and it gets propagated over and over again through social media. How do you help your followers to stay focused on what's right? Because it's really, really easy to get distracted. You can decide to follow a keto diet or paleo, or it's like for a while there, being vegan was fashionable. It wasn't even about, eating in a sustainable way. And I found when I would dive into it and I would coach other people and ask them, why are you doing this? They never really had an answer. How do you address those questions when they come up with your clients and the people that follow you?
That's such a great question. I'm such a big believer in discernment, like personal discernment, and like always checking in with our body to be like, is this for me or is this not for me? And oftentimes we decide what's good for us based on our cognitive, mental judgment versus our truth, which is what's in our body. And so I always share with my clients of like, even the stuff that I tell you, don't take it as truth. Take it as, I'm going to take this, I'm going to check in with my body, and I'm going to discern if this is for me or if this is not for me. And I think we all need to increase our ability to trust ourselves and use our discernment when we are getting information, whether it's about dieting, whether it's about personal development, relationships, whatever it is, like checking in with our truth. Like, is this actually for me? It could be for you, but not for me. So really encouraging people to take ownership over their transformation, take ownership over their way of being, and know why they're choosing it too. Not just because they're being sheeps because everyone else is doing vegan. That's a weird pun to use, but you know what I mean? Because everyone else is being like kale. No. But really understanding, like, why am I choosing this?
Did you, as part of your healing process, did you study nutrition? How did you get the information to help you discern at least how to eat better for you?
I did not study, I did a little bit of nutrition when I became a personal trainer, but when I learned what my body is really wanting and what it's not wanting, everything became so easy. So I now, and it still changes for me. It changes. It goes in cycles. There's times where my body is like, do not give me meat right now. And then there's times where my body's like, give me all the steak. I want everything, and it's so important to honor the cycle that your body is in and honor it accordingly. And it can always change and leave room for change. But when we get, and this is my opinion on this, when we get caught up in identities, of like, I am a vegan, I am paleo, I am this, and your body shifts and you actually need something different that's not in alignment with that diet, well, an identity is hard to break, especially for